Hi, Brigham. How are you today?
Good, Vandy. How are you?
Doing good. All right. Um, tell me what you remember from our last session and what was working well for you from that session.
Um, Last time when we were working through Gatsby, um, we were one of the big takeaways was l was finding ways to still showcase and find the humor um,
Mm.
when it's there, even if it's a little bit more subtle in the narration, like when you're narrating. If it's still, written, narrated kind of like if it's still written in a kind of dry way that's meant to be kind of humorous, you can still kind of tap into that. Um, and and I think I was a little too uh, when we first started last week. I think I was a little too hesitant.
Mm.
I think first I kind of like was doing it a little too casually, but then I immediately overcorrected. And I think I kind
Ah,
of found a good medium by the end of last time
okay.
of of sincere, of a very very sincere like this is funny, but like I'm still a narrator, kind of thing.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Tell me what for today do you want to set as your primary goal or focus?
So today I was hoping to uh, uh, take a look at that, to switch and take a look at the dialect of uh, of the No Country for Old Men, um, the the kind of West Texas
Yeah.
um, accent. Um, yeah, just because it's been a while since I've worked on a dialect, and
Sure.
probably because I'm it's definitely one of my weaker points.
Oh. All right. Well, yeah, definitely we can do that. Um, okay, where do you want to start? Do you want to go back over anything that we worked on last time, see where it's at this point? Do you want to dive into a new chunk? What do you think?
Um, you mean like from this book?
Yeah,
Let's let's do a new chunk just because the the last one had a lot of very straight talking in it because there's the
sure.
one character who talks very straight.
Okay.
Um, I actually have uh, a passage already. Um,
Okay.
yeah, basically every chapter starts with like a little introduction kind of narration the main uh, from the main character. Um,
Perfect.
yeah, and like I mentioned, he's the kind of author who writes it the way that it's said. Um, so which helps in some ways, but at the same time, it's like
Yeah.
want to make sure that I, don't mess it up too much. Yeah. All right. This is actually the opening narration, uh, at least part of it. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Uh, s- and in his usual way, he hates punctuation and you know he hates apostrophes and commas and that kind of thing. So that also makes it interesting. Uh, Okay. So sorry, and I'm just going back to the one that I kind of marked up a little bit for pronunciation. But okay. All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right. This is gonna be bad. I sent one boy to the gas chamber at Huntsville, one and only one. My arrest, my testimony. I went up there and visited with him two or three times. Three times. The last time was the day of his execution. I didn't have to go, but I did. I sure didn't want to. He'd killed a 14-year-old girl, and I can tell you right now, I never did have no great desire to visit with him, let alone go to his execution, but I'd done it. Papers said it was a crime of passion, and he told me there wasn't no passion to it. He'd been dating this girl, young as she was. He was 19, and he told me that he had been planning to kill somebody for about as long as he could remember. Said that if they turned him out, he'd do it again. Said he knew he was going to hell. Told it to me out of told it to me out of his own mouth. I don't know what to make of that. I surely don't.
Okay. All right. So tell me what's happening here, who you are, who you're talking to, where you are, what's happened right before this.
So I am an old retired sheriff in Texas, old school kind of sheriff. Um, very, very, very tough. Nothing really scares him, but the world is just kind of moving too fast for him. And so he's retired. He has just basically finished. Uh, Basically, there's this case that he'd been following that ended up kind of leading nowhere, and he just kind of threw in the towel because he was like, I can't deal with these new kinds of criminals, these new kinds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that the world is going. Um, and so he's retired and he's reflecting. Um, yeah. So it's interesting because he never really seems disturbed by, well, maybe a little bit disturbed, but he never seems frightened or anything like that. He it's like if he finds something upsetting or disturbing, he thinks about it. He reacts very contemplatively, like, hmm, that's weird. Like, you know. Um, but yeah, um, he's weary, he's weathered, he's very tough, but he's yeah, very unfazed, but also weary and old.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do you imagine for this voice then, when you think about who this character is?
Um, Very much, someone, his cowboy hat in his lap on a, chair on his front porch, looking out
Hmm.
over Texas plains, or maybe just kind of unprompted talking about it while, riding on a horse with his son or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, um, it's yeah, it's just kind of like how sometimes old people will say like, "Sorry, I like to hear myself talk." It's kind of that kind of thing. It's just like when the thoughts finally comes to them and they finally open up, it's just kind of like it's very much from their heart. But yeah, he's it's kind of an unprompted, random, you know, Texas, very, very quiet, rural Texas setting. Um, and yeah, the the cowboy hat and the, some horses and front porch and that kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah. So, um, okay. So do you have maybe like an actor or a person that you can think of that has kind of the sound we're looking for?
So it's a little bit of a mix between two. One is actually one, I feel like I can't do it without trying to uh, copy Tommy Lee Jones a bit,
Hmm.
since he was the one who played it in the movie, but
Yeah.
but also just because he's just he fits he fits it so perfectly. Um, and then but then the other one is actually the the narrator of the audiobook that I was listening to of this to kind of get a
Hmm.
better idea. Um, and I like both, and I kind of want to find like a good medium between the two. Um, basically, like Tommy Lee Jones, he weighs in, he leans in a bit more into the uh, one and only one, my arrest and my testimony. The drawl. He kind of leans into it a little bit more. Um, whereas the narrator, it's funny because he reads it almost straight, but there is it's a very subtle. Um, it's much more subtle. Like instead of saying I sent one boy, he does say I, but it's kind of like a I sent one boy to the gas chamber at Huntsville, one and only one. My arrest and my testimony.
Hmm.
So not like my, but like my my, you know, or my. Uh, and he also uses a lot of he takes advantage of the language, um of the way that it's written because the sentence, but I done it.
Yeah.
It
Hmm.
sounds, he leans into those. He takes advantage of those to make it sound very, um to make that accent sound very much there, even when he's doing it very subtly. And
Yeah.
he also does the weathered voice very well, the narrator.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, okay. So
So
what do
so
you think it needs at this point?
I I think my biggest concern is I I do kind of want to just because I feel like, you know the Texas accent is so stereotyped, that it's one that I do want to be more subtle on, um, or just a little bit more gentle on, um, not full on. What if you were to ask someone on the street, to do it? Oh, how do they sound in Texas? Um, so I do kind of want to rely on the language and the way things are spelled out. Um, s- but yeah, uh, I think that's one of the biggest things I've been thinking is just, and that I was kind of marking up is like, I was also marking up like places to pause and stuff like that, but also just slight variations of how to spell, of spellings to get a better idea of how to say it, but like never full on yeehaw, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what are some of the sounds that you notice that maybe like you normally wouldn't make, but that you would for this character?
Um, a lot of words are very clipped. Like didn't didn't have to go, didn't have to go. Um, um, and um, I think it's not necessarily that like every I is a ah or ah, but but there is kind of a this it lasts a little bit longer, and it's not as it's just it's still I, but it's a very relaxed sort of I I like almost like AYE sort of I, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like yeah, and in both versions they say Huntsville, you know. They just kind of certain words they just kind of, you know, let it just kind of taper off.
Okay. Yeah, like the little sort of like sloping, like lilting at the end, it just sort of like comes
Yeah.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
it's like I don't need to finish the
it's
word. You know where
less
I'm talking about.
diction at the end of the
Yeah.
phrases too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's go ahead and just really focus on the dialect elements there.
Okay. So try again.
Hmm.
Okay. I sent one boy to the gas chamber at Huntsville, one and only one. My arrest and my testimony. I went up there and visited with him two or three times. Three times. The last time was the day of his execution. I didn't have to go, but I did. Sure didn't want to. He'd killed a 14-year-old girl, and I can tell you right now, I never did have no great desire to visit with him, let alone go to his execution, but I done it. The papers said it was a crime of passion, and he told me there wasn't no passion to it. He'd been dating this girl, young as she was. He was 19, and he told me that he had been planning to kill somebody for about as long as he could remember, so that if they turned him out, he'd do it again. Said he knew it was going to hell. Told it to me out of his own mouth. I don't know what to make of that. I surely don't.
Okay. All right. So what did you feel like improved there?
It was getting better as it went on. It was definitely getting better as it went on. Um,
Yeah, that you felt like, oh, okay, I'm getting this a little bit better and more consistently as you went farther into the script.
yeah, yeah, and and some of the things uh, I kind of surprised myself, just like things that I just kind of did naturally, which I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing, but like just naturally, it says like what to make of that. I said I don't know what to make of that. Make of that, you know? Like it's just what I instinctively did. Um, so it's like I feel like I'm recognizing the patterns and starting to lean into them. Uh, but yeah, so yeah, the second half was good because I feel like I was able to kind of dial it back when I started off kind of a little exaggerated. The second half felt more natural
Yeah.
or sounded more natural.
Yeah. So what do you think is the trigger, the thing that starts your dialogue, the thing that your character reacts to?
Maybe he again like on maybe like on the front porch or riding on a horse or something with, you know, somebody that he knows or a friend or family member.
Sure. So what could be
Maybe
like the phrase that you react to that prompts that first line that you have?
maybe something about like maybe like something really kind of flippant or casual about like, yeah, the world's just getting worse, you know. Uh, but kind of like, those people that feel that are just kind of like, well, that's just, the world's just gonna keep getting worse. So what are you gonna do about it? And he's just kind of reminded of that it's kind of sombering and
Okay.
that he has a lot of experience and reason to feel somber about it.
Yeah. Okay, so then yeah, so then let's go ahead and try um mm, give me what do you think is your emotion at the beginning of the reading, in the middle of the reading, and at the end?
I think at the beginning, I'd say at the beginning he's trying to be casual. At the beginning, he's trying to be casual about it, just join in, share his own little, um, you know, oh, here's what I've experienced or here's what I've noticed or seen. Um, but then, um, as it goes on, he just kind of becomes more and more somber, or it's
Mm,
just like he realizes how much it just doesn't sit well with him. But he never loses his composure. He like it's still always very observational, very contemplative, and like you think that he's gonna come to some big conclusion, but he doesn't. He just says, "I don't know what to make of that." Hmm. So it almost like goes from casual
yeah,
into deep, vivid description
sure. What do you think your character
and
wants or
back into
needs in this moment?
my wants or needs.
Yeah,
Um, I feel like he's already accepted that things aren't turning out, that the world isn't going in a direction that he likes, and that he feels out of place in it. Um, but it's so I feel like he just needs, and I feel like he's already showing acceptance,
yeah.
but I feel like he just needs to almost term almost a, a refresh on that acceptance every now and then. He needs to kind of talk himself through what he experienced with this kind of like, that's just the way it happened. That's just, nothing deep from it. It's just, it is what it is.
Hmm.
So I think it's kind of almost this need to show himself or yeah, kind of this need to I guess yeah, hit the refresh button on his acceptance or resignation of no longer being a part of the world.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and try it again.
I sent one boy to the gas chamber at Huntsville, one and only one. My arrest, my testimony. I went up there and visited with him two or three times, three times. The last time was the day of his execution. I didn't have to go, but I did. I sure didn't want to. He'd killed a 14-year-old girl, and I can tell you right now, I never did have no great desire to visit with him, let alone go to his execution, but I'd done it. The paper said it was a crime of passion, and he told me there wasn't no passion to it. He'd been dating this girl, young as she was. He was 19. And he told me that he'd been planning to kill somebody for about as long as he could remember. Said that if they turned him out, he'd do it again. Said he knew he was going to hell. Told it to me out of his own mouth. I don't know what to make of that. I surely don't.
Okay, good. All right. So, yeah. So what changed about it that time?
It, I did like how there was this kind of subtle shift in the middle,
Mhm.
um, where he almost becomes vulnerable. Like he reveals just a little hint of himself, in saying, like that he didn't want to go, but he did it. Um, and kind of when he's talking about, this the person that was executed and the crime he committed and his attitude towards it, it's like you can feel him kind of like shaking his head a little bit, just kind of like, just kind of like almost a little bit like what am I even supposed to like? How is that even possible? Um, but and but then I think at the end when he said when it's like kind of told it to me out of his own mouth after he finishes saying that, it's like he kind of like comes back out of it and is just like, hmm, and and resumes kind of his more, you know, casual or at least more reserved. Just I don't know what to make of that. I surely don't.
Okay. All right. Good. So at this point, is there anything that you feel like you really want to change about it, or are you happy with where it's at?
What did you think in terms of pronunciation, consistency, that kind of thing with
Ah.
the dialect?
Okay. Yeah. So I definitely think that it has improved each time we've done it. And
That's
I
good.
feel like really relaxing into it and just embracing it, slowing down is really the key there. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. I think one of the times earlier that I was practicing it, a couple days ago, I tried doing a little Matthew McConaughey, see how it felt, see if
Ah.
it like uh, it was, and it helped a little bit, but it was a little bit too distracting for me. It was just, but but it did kind of help tap into kind of that relaxed, um, seeing past the accent almost kind of thing, which yeah, and it did feel like it was improving each time I did it, just barely. So
Yeah. Um, okay, good. So then, all right. So at this point, then, I'm pretty happy with it. Do you want to try it one more time just to like see if you um can get it, even smoother or even more consistent?
yes, please.
Okay, yeah, let's do it one more time. Even just to kind of lock in what we've been working on.
Okay, cool. I sent one boy to the gas chamber at Huntsville, one and only one. My arrest and my testimony. I went up there and visited with him two or three times, three times. The last time was the day of his execution. I didn't have to go, but I did. I sure didn't want to. He'd killed a 14-year-old girl, and I can tell you right now, I never did have no great desire to visit with him, let alone go to his execution, but I done it. The paper said it was a crime of passion, and he told me there wasn't no passion to it. He'd been dating this girl, young as she was. He was 19, and he told me that that he had been planning to kill somebody for about as long as he could remember, so that if they turned him out, he would do it again. Said he knew he was going to hell. Told it to me out of his own mouth. I don't know what to make of that. I surely don't.
Okay. All right. So tell me, how'd you feel about it? Did you feel like you had to like warm up into it? Were you happy? Like, you know, from the get-go, did you feel like you were engaged and, secure in it?
Definitely more secured than before.
Good.
And
Yeah.
I feel like there were even a couple times when I noticed a couple inconsistencies in how I pronounced something, it still didn't necessarily feel or sound wrong. It was almost like when he became more invested in what he was talking about, a little bit more of that drawl kind of came out, almost like almost like it's just something that just naturally happens when there's a little bit more emotion behind it.
Hmm.
So so it's definitely a lot better than it was before.
Yeah. Good. Awesome. Do you want to keep working on this then over this next week? Do you want to look at any other sections here?
Um, hmm. I think maybe over this next week, I want to find maybe a section that has some has multiple characters that has, you know, where multiple people are talking like this.
Yeah. Is there a section where you have like this character back and forth with another character?
There is. I don't have one ready, but
Yeah, but maybe you could find one and try a little bit of it over this next week or so, and then when we get back together in a couple weeks, then we could do it together then.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So what'll be the biggest challenge with that?
Um, so I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like if it's well, first of all, there's also going to be like narration in between if there's dialogue, um, which you know I I wouldn't expect that the narrator to be twangy, um, but um, but with the dialogue, I want to make sure that that I guess a little bit of variation with the accent would be would be all right. Like if someone else's was a little bit stronger or a little bit more subtle, um, as long as I maintain consistency with each character. And then obviously, like this guy's old and weathered. He might be talking with someone who's young and more, peppy. Um, and then yeah, the narrator who's just straight. Um, um, for the narrator, I do still kind of imagine also kind of a little bit more mature, maybe older sounding voice would be appropriate.
Hmm.
Um, like obviously, I don't want to lean too far into making the narrator a character, but but I feel like it's just the kind of the tone that this story deserves or that the
Hmm.
story needs. So I think it's kind of a combination of those things, making sure that, if there is, if the accent is a little bit different, well, first of all, like the other person's voice is obviously going to be very different. So if slash when that affects the accent, make sure that it's still consistent and appropriate. Um, and then also keep it straight with the narrator as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So one thing I would encourage you,
Yeah.
um, mm, one thing I would encourage you to do is really just relax into the slower pace. Just let yourself take your time. Maybe before you start, like take a deep, slow breath in, release that. I think you can relax more fully into into the slower pace. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So I think you've got some good things to work on this week. What's going to be your plan, or your intention for how you practice? How many days you're going to try to practice? How long of sessions? What specifically to focus on in those sessions? Are you going to try to do every day? Are you going to do every other day, every 3 days?
Mm. Probably, uh, probably Tuesday, Thursday. Um,
Hmm.
maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday and Friday, I never have any motivation. So maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Um, Especially because I have time now. Um, and I might play around with a few different passages, um, so I'm not just drilling on the exact same one every single time. I might try to find like a small variety of passages that that still give me an opportunity to practice different ones.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. I think that works. Do you feel like you know how to be moving forward with this and practicing it?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything that you feel like we didn't get to today that you need clarification on for how to work on it on your own?
Um, no, I was mostly waiting for you to at some point jump in and be like, all right, let's fix a few pronunciations here. Uh,
Oh, no, I thought that you were doing quite well. Also, this character, it sounds like has been in, a few different places, like a few different locations.
mm,
And so I don't know that they have to sound like exactly perfectly like one location. Does that
okay.
make sense?
Yeah.
If they've, moved around a little bit.
Mhm.
So that was my thought.
Okay. Okay, no, that helps.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yay. This will be fun. It's better than the French one that we did that one time. That was oh.
Aw.
That was bad. Uh,
Well, maybe you need to do some listening of some French things and get back to it. It might be fun to work on like a Louisiana French Creole kind of a sound, because that would be, still an American dialect. So
hmm
could be kind of a fun, like the Louisiana, like swampland
So like watch
dialect,
some Princess and the Frog and watch
where
some
they've got like a little bit of French combined.
yeah.
Yeah.
green
So that could
mile
be kind
thinks
of
it's the
cool.
frog. That's kind of
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you already like in
Yeah.
your mind are like, oh, I can kind of hear a little bit of that in my head.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Cool. Sweet.
All righty.
Awesome.
Well, awesome work today. Keep up the good
Sweet.
work,
Thanks,
and I
Andy.
look forward to seeing you soon. Have a good
Sweet.
one,
Thanks,
Brigham.
Andy. You too.